This is Wages of Cine, 31 Days of Horror. I'm Dan Beck. I had the privilege to watch, and I'm going to review for you Tourist Trap 1979.
Every year, hundreds of young people travel the country and disappear. God help those who get caught in the tourist trap. Directed by David Schmoller. You might know him from Crawl Space with Klaus Kinski. He also did Puppet Master. This was his first directorial debut for a feature, and he was able to work with Charles Band, which you might know him from Puppet Master as well. The score was by Pino Donaggio. He was able to get him to do the score because Pino was in America doing the score for Piranha. And he was able to speak the language, so he's called in as an interpreter, and he was able to talk to him, and somehow they got a deal where he would score this, and he went on to score Crawl Space. He's done some Argento films. He's also did scores for Brian De Palma, Carrie, I believe. But for Tourist Trap, stars Chuck Connor as Mr. Slauson. You might know him from, I think, The Rifleman. Jacqueline Jones played Molly. Tanya Roberts played Becky, and she was in The Beastmaster, if you remember that. That was one of my favorite. Other characters in this were Eileen, Tina, Jerry, and Woody. Well, it starts off with a group of friends. They're going on a vacation, and as all movies like this start, there's car trouble. Woody goes off to get his tire fixed. The others follow in their car. They pick up his girlfriend, and they make their way looking for him and come to this tourist trap, which is run by Mr. Slauson. They get there, you know, he's driving this VW thing. They keep calling it a Jeep, which is kind of weird to me. So the girls decide they're going to go check things out. They start swimming. Mr. Slauson finds them, tells them they shouldn't be up there, and he eventually invites them back to the house because the car's not working. As they're kind of hanging out, you know, he goes to help fix the car. They still haven't found Woody, but they think he's there because they saw his tire. But you have these girls. They're kind of hanging out in Mr. Slauson's place. He's got a lot of mannequins. His brother would build wax figures. So he tells the story of his brother being taken away by a job, and he's building wax figures for some wax museum. And he's got this kind of setup. Since it was like a tourist place and people would come in, you know, it had like Buffalo Bill, Indians, stuff like that, and they were animatronics, so they would do a little maneuver and impress the people. And they built a highway, so it diverted traffic away from his business. So it's kind of abandoned. Once he leaves to go help Jerry fix the car, and they're kind of checking things out. There's like a weird mannequin that's it feels weird, and we later find out that it is a replica of Mr. Slauson's wife. He says that, you know, she passed away a while back, and he really loved her.
I loved her very much. I wanted to keep her memory alive forever. This was the best way I know how. That's the whole purpose of wax museums, you know.
One of the girls goes looking for a phone, and there's a house that's adjacent to this outpost that has like all of the gadgetry. She goes in, and it's full of mannequins, and she's like looking at them. Sort of a mannequin. It looks like a person with a mannequin face. Comes in and then starts doing some weird mind tricks, and it kind of chokes her and kills her. So there's a supernatural element to this movie. And throughout the kills, there's different things that give to that, which David Schmoller says that originally that wasn't in there, but Charles Band kind of persuaded him to put it in there. So he only addresses it really once, because he was hoping that people would see what was going on and just kind of wonder if it's in one person's head or another person's head, because the way that the story plays out is that the further that you go through the story, the more kind of demented and twisted things start to get. And you see the psychosis of Mr. Slauson is manifesting himself. And later we learn that, and this is a spoiler, if you haven't seen the movie, you should probably watch it, that it's not actually his brother, it's Mr. Slauson that is doing all the killing. And what happened was that his brother and his wife were having an affair and he killed them. And then he's spun into this psychosis where he's playing all these characters, and what's never, well, David Schmoller had said that nobody really addresses it. And in one scene in particular, there's a mannequin that has lipstick all over it. And what it seems to reveal about his character is he can't have personal relationships with humans, and he's kind of projected onto these mannequins, and he's having sex with mannequins and doing stuff like that, which it's never really graphically seen, but it's alluded to a lot if you really watch. And Molly's character, he's kind of taken a fancy to her, and it's like he can't kill her as he's killed everybody else. He's starting to rebuild that human connection. And there's one scene that he has a mask of his wife, and he puts that on Molly and starts like making out with it. And that's kind of like the bridge to where he's like actually coming back to reality. And you know, he's like wanting her to tell her that he loves, or that she loves him. And it's a big, sick, twisted kind of tale, and which it comes into a climax where, no pun intended, that she squares off with him, and she has to kill him, and she like axes him, and he dies. Interesting thing about that is on his death scene, Chuck Connors was asking him if he should do a Brody, and David Schmoller was his first feature. He's like, I don't know what a Brody is. And he was like, well, you know, I just kind of, you know, do an over-the-top kind of death. And he was like, yeah, sure, do a Brody. And he's, it takes him a while to actually get down to the ground and die. But, I mean, it's all good fun. And this is a really good movie. It's for 1979. It tackles some really cool themes, and it's not a bad production. They did a pretty good job. It's got a nice score, and I would recommend this as one of your Halloween go-tos. It's been released on Blu-ray by Full Moon, and that's Charles Band's distribution company. Blu-ray looks fabulous. It's got some nice extras, commentary. It's got interview, some behind the scenes kind of stuff. Check it out.